Bonjour mes amis, je suis l'Énergie Canadienne and welcome back to another episode where today I'll be reading chapters 15 and 16 of James Spann's All You Can Do Is Pray. In the last video you saw I read chapters 13 and 14, checking more stories from the communities of Cordova and Tuscaloosa in West Alabama, and really now we're just kind of getting into more stories here and starting to get towards the end a little bit. We're kind of we'll be 2/3 of the way done after this video. So real quick before I read the book today, two things: the quick summaries, and the announcement. First of all, the announcement real quick. Discord is up and running. Contest is still undergoing. 6 more days left to enter for a chance to design me a new profile picture and a new banner. The link for the Discord will be in the description, so please do enter as you have a chance to win a $10, basically a month of Discord Nitro on me. So again, video will be in the description. I mean, not the video. The Discord will be in the description. And if you have not watched the other parts of this series already, I'll leave links to those videos in the description as well. To summarize just quickly so we can get on with this. Chapter 1 was how he got into the business. Chapter 2 was the Forgotten Outbreak. Chapter 3 was the build-up. Chapter 4 was the morning convention. Chapter 5 was Coleman. Chapter 6 was the escalation. Chapter 6 was the climax and de-escalation. Chapter 8 was the aftermath. And chapters 9 through 14 have all been stories told by survivors about that fateful day. So, without further ado, let's begin. Chapter 15, riding out in EF5 in the bathtub. The most violent tornadoes are also the rarest. The enhanced Vegeta scale rates the intensity of tornadoes based on the damage they produce. The scale runs from 0 to 5. Most tornadoes are at the lower end of the scale, EF0 and EF1 strength. EF4 and EF5 tornadoes represent only about 2% of all tornadoes reported in the United States since 1950. Nationally, there have been only 59 EF5 tornadoes based on data from the Storm Prediction Center, 7 of those in Alabama. By definition, an EF5 tornado has winds of 200 miles per hour or greater and creates incredible damage. Well-built frame homes are destroyed with foundations swept clean of debris. Steel reinforced concrete structures are critically damaged. Tall buildings collapse or have severe structural deformations. Cars, trucks, and trains can be thrown approximately 1 mile. 3 EF5s touched down in our state during the April 3rd, 4th, 1974 super outbreak. The next EF5 came 24 years later on April 8th, 1998. In the western part of the Birmingham metro area. The other 3 came on April 27, 2011. 2 of those 3 moved through Marion County in the northwest part of the state. One of those had been down in northeast Mississippi, producing catastrophic damage in the town of Smithville before moving into Alabama. The other one moved through parts of Hackleburg and Phil Campbell, then across parts of the Tennessee Valley. I can honestly say the 2 most violent tornadoes in Alabama in my lifetime were the Guin F5 EF5 on April 3rd, 1974, and the Hackleburg Phil Campbell tornado in 2011. I saw the damage with my own eyes, and it is simply indescribable. Any tree left standing was debarked, and in some cases, the ground was scoured. The 3rd EF5 on April 27, 2011, came in DeKalb County in northeast Alabama. The tornado touched down near the Lakeview community, then moved northeastward near Fife, Rangeville, Sylvania, Henniger, Ider, and eventually into northern DeKalb County, south of the Cartersville community. Lacey Edgeworth, along with her husband Jeremy and 18-month-old son Cooper, lived in rural DeKalb County in 2011, east of the community of Henniger on Alabama Highway 117. Monday and Tuesday, April 25th and 26th, were routine days for Lacey, a busy mom. She woke up, cooked, cleaned, changed Cooper's diapers, took him outside to play, bathed him, and got into bed. Monday night, while she was taking a shower, she felt the need to pray. Lacey says she asked God to protect her and her family if they ever had to be in that bathtub during the storm. Little did she know, he would answer that prayer in just 48 hours. On Wednesday morning, April 27th, a morning thunderstorm had produced some scattered damage in that area, and power was out at the Edgeworth's home. At the time in her life, Lacey says storms meant nothing to me, and there was no concern about the weather. But at the same time, Lacey told me, in my heart, I knew something was wrong. I just didn't know what it was. Jeremy went to work as usual, but a few hours later, Jeremy called to let Lacey know he was being sent home due to the high risk of severe thunderstorms and tornadoes. Lacey let Cooper play outside during a few passing afternoon showers, but the weather was still fairly benign, although windy. Around 5:30 p.m., Lacey took Cooper in to dry him off and got him into his pajamas. About an hour later, Lacey decided to change clothes in case severe storms did strike and she had to get out and help people. She noticed her clothes didn't match, and she knew if she got caught outside not matching, her mom would kill her. After getting the clothes coordinated, she started to light the candles and get ready for the nighttime. Around 6:40 p.m., Jeremy got a call from Code Red, a severe weather warning service offered by the DeKalb County Emergency Management Agency. After the call, he went to look out the utility room and saw the approaching storm. Jeremy yelled at Lacey to get Cooper and get into the bathroom. The house was getting dark and they couldn't find Cooper. Finally, they saw him in a corner playing with their corded phone. As they headed to the bathroom, Lacey grabbed the pillows off their bed, not really thinking that they even needed them. Jeremy then looked out the bathroom window and saw a huge gray tornado headed their way. They got down in the tub and started to pray. Please, Lord, protect us. Please, Lord, protect us. Cooper was screaming because he didn't understand why Lacey was holding him down in the tub under pillows. As Lacey and Jeremy continued to cry out to God, they could hear the tornado ripping their house to pieces about 20 seconds after getting in the tub. Lacey was screaming, Jesus, 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 protect us. Lacey told me, I knew I was taking my last few breaths of life. She says she was at peace with dying in that moment. The tornado lofted them, throwing them up out of the house while still in the tub, which is full of bath shower combo. With nothing covering their heads, they felt helpless, and they couldn't breathe because of the insulation and debris. All Lacey could do was stare at Cooper's face to make sure he was breathing. Lacey could hear Jeremy saying, just hold on, just keep holding on. After coming back down to the ground, the only part of the bath shower combo remaining was under them, and it was surrounded by trees and wood from the walls of their home, which formed a type of shelter. That shelter protected the family of three from the debris and shrapnel in the tornado until the wind finally stopped. After the tornado, Lacey could hear Jeremy but couldn't see him. She was comforted for her knowing he was alive. Cooper was still in her arms and was breathing after she dug dirt out of his mouth. The family dog appeared from who knows where. Lacey had 2 cuts, one on her ankle and one on her wrist. Cooper had a small knot in his forehead. Jeremy was uninjured. A total of 35 people lost their lives in DeKalb County that night. The Edgeworth family was spared. Very few people on the planet can say they survived an EF5 tornado, but Lacey, Jeremy, and Cooper did. In their words, by the grace of God. They opted to rebuild on the same property. Their house today sits on the exact same spot on Highway 117. During the day, April 27, 2011, Lacey told me she took picture after picture. For this book, she sent me one picture of her and Cooper. She said, it is terrible, and after I took it, I thought I would hate for this to be my last picture, so I almost hit the delete button. But for some reason, I couldn't delete it. If we had not made it through the storm, that would have been the last picture of me. Thankfully, the Edgeworth family did make it through the storm. She survived an EF5 tornado in the bathtub by God's grace. Short chapter this time around, but still remarkable. Like, keep in mind, he described the EF5 tornado as the most dangerous thing and like the worst case scenario for any tornado scenario. This is something that that is shocking to hear that everyone in that home survived and like there was some minor injuries, but nothing else serious. Which again in of itself is remarkable. And all the power to them for surviving and keep on going. Like that's something like you can, be happy about. Like just cherish that in any way that you can imagine it. Chapter 16: 5 caskets, 1 family. The EF4 tornado that moved through Coleman was well documented. We had it live on our Skycam on ABC 3340 as it tore through the city. But the storm didn't end at Coleman. The twisters stayed on the ground another 30 miles in the southeast tip of Morgan County and into Marshall County, finally lifted near the Tennessee River. 6-year-old Ari Hallmark was a kindergarten student at Brinkley Mountain Primary School, but school was canceled on April 27, 2011. Okay, can you stop? Thank you. 6-year-old Ari Hallmark was a kindergarten student at Brinkley Mountain Primary School. The school was canceled on April 27, 2011 due to severe weather situation. She spent part of the day with her dad, Shane, who was doing work on the family chicken farm in Union Grove. There was debris to be cleaned up in the morning on the storms. Trees were down and needed to be cleared. Ari's mom, Jennifer, was in nursing school at Snead State Community College. An important final exam was scheduled for the day, and Jennifer went onto the school that morning in Boaz with her sister-in-law, Mandy Garman, who was also in nursing school. Jennifer got back around noon and picked up Ari. From there, they went to the house in the roof community just northwest of Arab. They've been living there for only about 10 days. Ari and her mom were aware of the severe weather front and were paying attention to the weather updates during the afternoon as they were doing chores in the new house. Shane came home from the farm during the afternoon, and the family discussed the pending storms. Shane didn't believe it would be that bad at their home. After all, severe storms usually happen somewhere else, not there. But Shane saw what was happening in Coleman and knew it would be a very rough ride. The family planned on going to Shane's parents' house, just a few minutes away by car, to pick up his mom and dad, Ann and Philip, and 17-month-old twins they were babysitting. The toddlers, Jaden and Julie, were the children of Ricky and Regina Hallmark. Ricky is Shane's brother. Regina worked at Alpha Insurance in Huntsville, and Ricky worked at Golden Living Center in Arab. Regina was asked to help out in Arab because the office was covered up with claims due to the morning round of storms. And the plan was to get Ann, Philip, and the twins back to Shane and Jennifer's new home so they could ride up the store together there. Ari just wanted her dad to pick them up so she and Jennifer could stay home. The decision was made for all three to make the short trip together. Ari told me she knew something bad was going to happen soon because of a series of dreams in the recent months. She didn't know it would be an EF4 tornado. Minutes after Ari, Shane, and Jennifer walked into Ann and Philip's home, the power went out. Everyone could see a large, violent tornado only about 100 yards away charging toward them. There was no time to go back. They would have to ride it out right there. 2 others were there. Family member Jordan Putnam and friend Harold Buchanan. In all, there were 9 souls in that home. They all crammed into a small bathroom near the center of the house. Ann Hallmark did her best to reassure everyone, telling them it was going to be okay. Ari remembers her dad trying to prevent the door and walls from collapsing, then grabbing her and holding her tightly. Later, it was determined that Ari had severely bruised ribs because Shane was holding her so tight, protecting her and probably saving her life. Ari's next memory was waking up in the field. She immediately began to cry for her parents. She tried to open her eyes, but she couldn't see anything because of dirt and blood. Then she blacked out again. She has no recollection of being found in that field 200 yards away from her grandparents' home by a neighbor, Kenny Casey. He carried the girl in his arms almost a mile to Roof Road before meeting emergency workers. Ari was transported to Marshall Medical Center North in Guntersville, and after being stabilized, she was moved to the trauma center at Huntsville Hospital. Ari had a fractured skull and a broken collarbone and left arm, with multiple severe cuts and lacerations. Her wounds required 18 staples and 66 stitches, but she was alive. One of the Togler twins, Julie, was found alive and transported with Ari. Julie's brain had a small brain bleed, and she had severe head trauma and a lacerated liver. Both lungs had collapsed, and she had a broken collarbone and left arm with multiple cuts and lacerations. At Huntsville, Julie underwent surgery to put drains in her lungs. The other twin, Jaden, didn't survive the tornado. Also killed were Shane, Jennifer, Ann, and Philip. Ari's parents, maternal grandparents, and cousin. 5 of the 9 died. 5 of the 9 in the house died. Jordan Putnam and Harold Buchanan survived. Every seat was filled for the joint funeral at Union Hill First Congressional Methodist Church. 5 caskets, all with red roses, except Jaden, which had white roses. One family. Ari didn't attend the funeral based on her wishes and advice from surviving family members, but she did come to visitation, which was enough for her. Very few, especially at the age of 6, attended a 5-casket visitation. Ari's kindergarten teacher stayed with her during the funeral, so all the family members could attend. The month following the tornado, Ari walked on stage at Sneed State Community College graduation of nursing students and received her mother's Florence Nightingale pin. Jennifer was the valedictorian for nursing class. Ari stood in her mom's place during graduation, alongside her aunt Mandy Garman. Ari, now 16, says she deals with the family tragedy these days by talking about it to others, especially others her age who have lost their parents. She says for the first few years after the tornado, she was terrified of storms, but now she has accepted the results of April 27, 2011, as God's will, and her PTSD has faded. In 2019, Ari Hallmark was crowned the 2019 Arab Junior High Sweetheart. At AJHS, Ari was a cheerleader and a member of the Beta Club. She lives with Ruth, her maternal grandmother, Susan Garmany. They are in the same home that Ari, Shane, and Jennifer moved into, newly built 10 days before the April 27, 2011 tornado. Ironically, it wasn't touched, while Ann and Phil Hallmark's house was destroyed just a short distance away. After Ari lost consciousness as she was being lifted by a tornado in 2011, she became aware of a long, white staircase. Then there was a large group of people walking up the stairs. And with the group, there was a being Ari describes as an angel who was leading the way to a place some call heaven. The journey up the stairs was long, but there was no fatigue. Ari then, during those moments in time, saw her grandfather, who had died several years ago, along with her parents, Shane and Jennifer, her grandparents, Philip and Ann, and her cousin Jaden. Ari says they all looked strong and healthy. Jane had a condition called alopecia that left him with no facial hair, eyebrows, eyelashes, or any hair on his head. But in heaven, Shane had a full head of hair. On earth, Shane was almost legally blind, but this time there were no glasses. After getting to see her family, she was told it was time to go back down the stairs. And soon after that, she remembered crying in that field in Marshall County, Alabama. The year after the tornado, at the age of 7, Ari, with the help of Lisa Wilburn, wrote a book about the near-death experience called To Heaven After the Storm. The proceeds from Ari's book are helping a ministry for other children dealing with death. I hope you consider getting a copy. The ebook version is available on almost every platform. It is a remarkable and encouraging read. As she entered her teenage years, Ari says she went through several phases about the question why. Why were my family members taken? Why in the world did this happen in the first place? Ari became angry at God, at her friends, at life in general. When this happened, Susan Garmany, Ari's grandmother, encouraged her to go work with Thursday's child, administering to help disabled children and their parents. After working with this group, Ari says she realized just how lucky and blessed she was just to be alive. Her mission now is to encourage others, share God's love, and let them know how heaven is a real place. From time to time, Ari and Susan make the 1.5 mile drive from their home to the spot where 5 family members perished in the April 27, 2011 tornado. Painful memories, but comforting knowing that they will be reunited at another place at another time. Ari says she has two main career choices now: becoming a PICU, or known as a pediatric intensive care unit, nurse, or a meteorologist. I can tell you now she'll be successful at either one she chooses. In all, there were 15 tornadoes in Marshall County alone on April 27, 2011, including the EF4 responsible for the deaths of the 5 members of the Hallmark family. A total of 47 people were injured, and the damage was estimated at $30 million in the county. Wow. Like, I cannot imagine being that girl right now and I wouldn't know what it'd be like to lose both my parents or something like that. Let alone a whole set of grandparents and a cousin too. Like, it's heartbreaking, and the fact that she pulled through is absolutely remarkable and shows how strong that she is. I know that Ari will never see this, but if she does, by chance, I hope everything's okay now, and I hope you are coping with everything even after that fateful day 10 years ago or whatever it is you watch it. So anyway, I think that'll wrap up today's episode. Tomorrow we'll be reading chapters 17 and 18. And a reminder again, Discord and the giveaway are still ongoing. Link to the Discord will be in the description, so do check it out. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like down below. Comment what you guys would like to see next. If you have not done so already, subscribe and join the illogical army. For now, je suis l'illogique canadien, et bonne nuit, et au revoir.